NFL free agency is starting with a bang for the Chicago Bears as they have agreed to terms with linebacker TJ Edwards, a 3-year, $19.5 million deal, $12 million guaranteed. He agrees to terms with Chicago very early on here on day one of NFL free agency, and you get him for $6.5 million per year. I love Roquan Smith, but if you're asking me, Roquan for $20 million or TJ Edwards for $6.5, I'm going TJ Edwards for $6.5 million, and I'm not sure it's even that close.
The Chicago Bears and new general manager Ryan Poles are making some significant noise today. Sources say they are signing Tremaine Edmunds, the star linebacker formerly of the Buffalo Bills, to a massive deal. He gets 4 years, $72 million with Chicago, $50 million guaranteed, which is 69% of its overall value, the largest 4-year contract for an inside linebacker in the NFL. Tremaine Edmunds, one of the young rising stars of the NFL, who lands in Chicago.
More news coming in for the Chicago Bears here on day one of NFL free agency. DeMarcus Walker has agreed to, Mike Garafolo reports it's a 3-year in total. We'll see what the exact numbers are, but the veteran defensive end becomes the first defensive lineman to sign with the Bears in free agency. He had a career high in sacks this past year with 7 with the Tennessee Titans. This will be his 4th team that he's played for in his career.
Breaking news, the Chicago Bears have signed guard Nate Davis, who is a former starter for the Tennessee Titans. He's 26 years old, 6'3", 316 pounds. A big man, to say the least. Now you got another piece on that offensive line. This is our first signing in free agency on that offensive line.
The Chicago Bears have signed a running back, and it is Travis Homer, who has spent his entire career with the Seattle Seahawks. Homer, 4 seasons with the Seahawks, kind of a scat back in 4 seasons, 453 rushing yards, 464 receiving yards. This is certainly not a true Montgomery replacement. Now he's getting 2 years, $4.5 million, so that's not exactly no money whatsoever. Homer coming to the Bears on a 2-year deal.
Sources say the Carolina Panthers are moving all the way from number 9 to the number 1 overall selection, trading with the Chicago Bears. And for the Carolina Panthers, this did not come cheap. The Carolina Panthers are giving the Chicago Bears the number 9 pick. It is a 2nd rounder this year, a 1st rounder in 2024, a 2nd rounder in 2025, and DJ Moore, a top receiver who, of course, has already been paid. So Chicago adds a massive draft haul and a top receiver.
The Bears have made another signing, and it is tight end Robert Tonyan, as he has spent the entirety of his career so far with the Green Bay Packers. He will sign a 1-year deal with Chicago. 2020 was his best season by far. 52 catches, 586 yards, 11 touchdowns. He was a red zone menace that year. He can stretch the field a little bit. He could be a safety net. You just needed a solid number 2 guy behind Cole Kmet, who really broke out this past year. Andrew Billings, 1 year, $3.5 million, $2.4 million guaranteed. If you don't know who Andrew Billings is, he's a 1-tech defensive tackle, and that is the role he will play. Whether he's a starter or a reserve, that'll depend on what else happens in NFL free agency and in the NFL draft. Right now, I would certainly say he would start. It's not splashy, it's not sexy, but it's a guy that'll come in here, stop the run, do some of the dirty work. Andrew Billings, you are Chicago Bear.
According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Bears are signing former Panthers running back Deontay Foreman to a 1-year, $3 million deal.
Interesting moves being made. Another value signing. He's run pretty well. Had a pretty good year last year for Carolina, kind of resurrecting his career. 203 carries, 914 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He's not a huge threat as a receiving back, but good in short yardage, and 4.5 yards per carry last year.
The Bears have made a signing. It is linebacker Dylan Cole, who agrees to terms with the Bears. 6 foot, 240, 28 years old. Last year, he started 8 games at linebacker for Tennessee, a career high. 64 tackles last year, had a sack, had a pass breakup. This is a depth signing. Your linebacker room is top-heavy and it's deep. You've got good players at the top in Edmunds and Edwards, and you've got good depth now with Sanborn, Dylan Cole.
The Bears have made a signing in NFL free agency, and it is Rasheem Green. ESPN's Adam Schefter breaking the news, saying that former Texans free agent defensive lineman Rasheem Green is signing a one-year deal with the Bears. If you look at his numbers from last year, good rotation numbers. He can start or be a backup. 42 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks. He had 8 quarterback hits. Over the last 2 years, he has 60 pressures, so he's somebody who's able to get after the quarterback.
With the 10th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Darnell Wright, offensive tackle, Tennessee.
They've got a big fella in Darnell Wright, 330 pounds, and he ran a 40-yard dash at the combine in just a tick over 5 seconds.
Yeah, this is a guy who really came on late in his career. He's always had the talent. He's always had this size. But you saw it all come together. If you were just to evaluate this one tape against Will Anderson Jr., you'd say he maybe the #1 overall pick or the #1 offensive lineman at least. It wasn't always at that level, but he got to the Senior Bowl. He was dominant against really good pass rush. He shows up at the combine, runs as well as you said there, Reese. He has all the physical tools. Now Chicago's got to make sure nutrition, keep his weight down, keep him focused on what he did this past year, because if he bottles that up, he's got a chance to be a great player in the league.
With the 53rd pick of the 2023 draft, Chicago Bears select Javon Dexter Sr., Florida Gators D tackle.
Dexter he's kind of the definition of a flash player, because you'll see certain plays in certain games where you're like, whoa, this guy has got some big time juice. He's almost 6'6", he's 310 pounds. So he plays like somebody that's much smaller in terms of his athleticism and his burst. Ran really well, ran a 4.88 40. He's got some knockback, but it's just a consistency. If he had been consistent with those flashes that you see, he would have been a first-round pick all day long. You can see how dynamic he is.
Do you know where he was rated, who he was rated just ahead of in recruiting? Jalen Carter. So, he's got the talent.
You
but
can
you're right.
see the glimpses
You can
of
see it. There's glimpses there, and he's like a developmental type of guy. If you can get that out of him, man, he could be a special player.
With the 56th pick in 2023 draft, Chicago Bears select Tyreek Stevenson, DB, University of Miami.
Tyreek Stevenson is a transfer from Georgia. Played inside there, goes to Miami so he can play outside. The toughness I love. That's the first thing I wrote down when I was studying him. He loves to go nose to nose, play man to man, very physical, very tough. And you see him get under the skin of some of his opponents with that energy he plays with, go up and attack the ball at the highest point, showing you example again of the ball skills down the field. Some teams thought he might end up being a safety. He's played nickel, he's played outside. To me, wherever you play him, you're getting one tough, competitive defensive back.
With the 64th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Zach Pickens, defensive tackle, South Carolina.
Another athletic defensive lineman that they've just added. They had Dexter, who's a big 300-plus pound guy at almost 6'6", who ran under 5 flat. Now you bring in Pickens. He ran 4.89, 34 3/8-inch arms. The traits are there. The explosiveness is there. He is fun to watch. These are upside plays for Ryan Poles. They're going to the line of scrimmage. They did it first with Darnell Wright in the first round CD. Now they come back with a couple defensive linemen. They're chasing upside. They're chasing some big-time traits up front with Ryan Poles.
And in Indianapolis, when Matt Eberflus was the defensive coordinator, they built from the line out in terms of what they were doing on defense, trying to do that now in Chicago.
The 115th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft pick, the Chicago Bears select Roschon Johnson, running back, Texas.
So out of Texas, a will do everything guy, Roschon Johnson. Tough, hard-nosed runner for the Longhorns.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about this guy. He was an All-American high school football player. He's 6 foot, 219 pounds. He does not play like a high school quarterback. He runs with violence. He runs between the tackles. And what I love about him, his intangibles aren't just good. They're phenomenal. Roschon is our leader. That's what Sarkisian said. That says a lot.
No, he's not going to run away from guys. But for the Chicago Bears, you want a power running back who can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. And he's going to be great on special teams, guys.
Some guys don't like to do the little things. He takes great pleasure in it.
Because this guy will absolutely stone you. That's a great attitude pick right there. He's going to set a tone for this offense.
With the 133rd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft,
the Chicago Bears select Tyler Scott, wide receiver, Cincinnati.
I thought he could have gone in the second round because we think these burners at wide receiver, they're going to go a little bit earlier than expected. He can be a little bit of a body catcher. I think that's one of the biggest concerns, but he was productive at Cincinnati. 4.37 speed at the pro day, guys, at 5'10", 177. Short area quickness is there. Ran a 4.25 in the short shuttle. 15 reps of the bench press. That's 225 pounds he's repping out, Lou. He only weighs 177. The strength is there. This is a complete football player.
And once you get him the football, he is out the gate. He is gone. He is a big play threat waiting to happen. And I'll tell you, Justin Fields is going to be happy with this guy because of his versatility and the fact that he doesn't have to always chuck it deep down the field. Just get it in the hands of guys like him, and he will take it. He will do the rest of the work.
With the 148th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Bears select Noah Sewell, linebacker from Oregon.
The Sewell family, a rich football tradition. Former 5-star recruit and Panay's younger brother, as you talked about. He can play the Mike or the Will position. He is a guy who is just a downhill key and diagnoser who is usually in the right spot at the right time. No false steps. Has great hand use, and I mean great hand use. You see linebackers who try to shock and shed, but usually get stuck one-on-one. You never see Noah Sewell getting stuck on blocks. They like to get him out on the edge and blitz him a little bit because he has a big run hit factor, meaning when he gets going downhill, he usually delivers a nice pop, good zone drop awareness.
Hey, Reese, remember yesterday when I said there are no college linebackers that stack and shed anymore?
Yes.
I lied.
There's
Sewell
one.
does really
yes,
well.
Sir. Chicago Bears looked into Big Ten territory and took Terrell Smith, the cornerback out of Minnesota.
Talk about the traits and the mentality you want. Where he closes quickly, where he reads the quarterback's eyes, anticipates well. I thought he was a good tackler overall.
Yep.
He got after it, played a physical brand of football from that cornerback spot for the Golden Gophers.
So you let off with it's the speed, it's the athleticism that is there, the traits are there. He hasn't played a lot of special teams in college. That's going to come, that's going to learn, but the effort is absolutely there. PJ Fleck thought this guy was going to leave. He had offers to leave, and the transfer portal didn't do it, which speaks to the maturity, the leadership that he's going to bring to the Chicago Bears, which has really been a theme of their draft. Tough players, hard-nosed football players, high-character guys that can help build the culture of this team. I'm a Terrell Smith fan. I wouldn't have been shocked if he gone early in the 4th round, maybe even late in the 3rd round, because of that speed and size makeup that he has.
With the 218th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Travis Bell, defensive tackle, Kennesaw State.
This is probably one of my favorite human beings. He is a special person. I love the intensity that he plays with in football, and practice is recess to him.
He is powerful. When he puts his hands on you, he's going to dent whoever's in front of him. It doesn't matter. He's athletic. He's very sudden and quick, and he plays with a passion. Watch him go make plays sideline to sideline. You know, for a guy that weighs 300-plus pounds, to watch him run around and make plays it's fun to watch. When he flips a switch, you need to get out of the way now. But not only that, he became a leader on our football team that all the guys would go to and respected. I don't think you'll get a better young man that's going to be more committed to doing things the way they need to be done.
With the 258th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Kendall Williamson, defensive back, Stanford.
I guess we should have David Shaw in here. He's been in the building all this weekend because he'll definitely know Kendall Williamson. Kendall Williamson, defensive back, he's hurt because he just doesn't have a lot of ball production. Only one interception career for him in his entire time at Stanford. Pass defense down at 14, but he's a safety. He's got good size, and what the Bears are looking for is a little more depth at safety. Because you've got Eddie Jackson, who is a veteran, and he's been a very good veteran, but he's getting a little bit older, and so you want to start finding some guys who might be next up, or who might at least be able to fit in there and be a competitive backup if he needs to get in the game.
Ryan Poles has signed his first extension as the Chicago Bears general manager, and it is for Cole Kmet, as they have locked up the young tight end on a 4-year, $50 million extension to remain in Chicago for the foreseeable future. Schefter had the details. 4 years, $50 million, including $32.8 million guaranteed and $20 million in new first-year cash. Poles got his guy. Yannick Ngakoue has signed a 1-year, $10.5 million contract with $10 million guaranteed with the Chicago Bears for the 2023 NFL season. The one glaring need that remained, though, was edge rusher. Now you got him. You got your guy, Yannick Ngakoue, who can plug in and be that starter opposite of DeMarcus Walker. That's what he does. He puts his hand in the dirt, and he goes to get the quarterback. Yannick Ngakoue, you are a Chicago Bear.
Ryan Poles has done it again. He signs veteran tight end Mercedes Lewis to a 1-year deal for the 2023 NFL season. Another player that was on our radar to add to this football team. He is an excellent blocker. He's been one of the best blocking tight ends throughout his entire career. His role is to come in and blow people up in the run game. And he can still do that despite his advanced age. And kudos to Mercedes Lewis. Year 18 in the NFL? I mean, that is impressive.
On the night before NFL roster cutdown day, the Bears have added some offensive line help. The Bears have traded for an offensive lineman by the name of Dan Feeney from the Miami Dolphins, according to Brad Biggs. It was clear that Ryan Poles needed to add some offensive line help, so to get a guy like Dan Feeney here on the night before roster cutdown day, I think is certainly a deal that makes sense.